shadow work? What is it? Why use it? And what can it do for you? Hey, this is Natalie Hill, and I love discussing this topic. So first of all, what is shadow work? So I'm using the term shadow as synonymous with the unconscious. Although there are other uses of the term shadow, I'm referring to the unconscious when I say shadow. So shadow work is any type of inner work that accesses the unconscious. So this includes things like tapping or EFT, hypnosis is shadow work, EMDR is shadow work, a lot of NLP or neuro-linguistic programming is shadow work. Active imagination is a method that was written about by this genius of the unconscious, Carl Jung. Parts work like internal family systems, healing old wounds by working with wounded inner parts, somatic work like noticing and tuning into how the body is feeling and what it might be saying to you can be shadow work. There's even a trademarked form of work working with inner archetypes that's called shadow work, and that is also shadow work. So shadow work may be mental, but it must also be either emotional or physical or symbolic in order to access the unconscious. So why do we need shadow work? You might be asking this. What's the point? Why do shadow work? So we do shadow work for the same reason that we use any kind of personal growth tool. We want something to change. We want to be happier or wealthier or healthier, more successful. We want to feel more love, more joy. We want to increase our consciousness. We want to reach our full potential. But we're often drawn to shadow work because we're in pain. We want to experience less suffering, less struggle, less physical pain, less psychological pain, less emotional pain, less financial struggle, less feeling left out, ignored, unlovable, unworthy. Basically, all the normal human struggles. And so what's the difference between shadow work and other personal growth work? Okay, so there's lots of tools that you are undoubtedly familiar with. Positive thinking, the law of attraction, visualization, saying affirmations, journaling, habit formation, using your willpower, productivity tools, goal setting. Those are just a few examples, and all of them are great. However, they don't usually have the same speed and the deeply transformational impact as shadow work. So I call shadow work the Zipline of personal growth tools. Shadow work is accessing the deep, dark, hidden, secret, subterranean aquifer of our psyche. Personal growth tools are more like wading in a puddle. So most personal growth tools must be done every day or every hour or maybe even every minute to keep working, to keep making you feel better. But shadow work can have a lifetime impact. Most personal growth tools make temporary change. The impact of shadow work is permanent. So how did I get started doing shadow work, exploring shadow work? So basically, I've been in a lot of emotional pain most of my adult life. I've had chronic fatigue also, which is physical. I have had strange physical symptoms that I suspected were psychological in origin, or I suspected that they were deeper than just on the physical level. And also, in terms of my work and my business, the success that I dreamed of had been fleeting or marginal. So I've always looked for tools to help me to feel better and to have better health, more wealth, and greater success. And at some point, when I'd actually done decades of personal growth work, books that I had read, courses I had taken, workshops, certifications that I got, you name it, I'd had those all under my belt. I stopped to ask myself, like, what is it that all of these tools have in common that work? What is it that the tools that work have in common? And so, because I noticed that some of the tools really worked. I could notice that they changed me. I would feel more confident, less insecure. I would attract higher level clients. My bank account got fatter and stayed fat. So it was like some of the tools, they up-leveled me. It was like I'd gone to the next flight of stairs and I wasn't going back down. Yet other tools might have made me feel better for an hour or a day, but I would fall back to the same original level. They had to be done continually. It was like pumping up a tire with a pinhole leak in it. I had to keep on pumping all the time for them to work. Whereas the other tools, I mean, they were like upgrading to a electric bike or something, that didn't have any pumping required. So I asked myself, what's the difference? And I realized that the tools that created lasting change all had a way to connect with the shadow, the unconscious. They went deeper than the conscious mind alone. So that's when I looked back over my life and I made a list. I made a collection of all the tools that I had learned from others, that I had discovered myself, or that I had developed myself that make lasting impact. So how do I use this kind of shadow work today? So the first thing I did early on, right after I made that discovery, and that was early in 2020. When I made this discovery, like I had this epiphany of, oh, these are all the kinds of tools that are shadow work that I've done over the years. I've learned, and some of them I had developed myself, and they are the very ones that make the big difference. So I decided to teach it, even though I'm not a psychologist, I am not a Jungian analyst, I'm not Carl Jung's great niece, none of that. Still, I had learned through my own experience the impact of shadow work, how to do shadow work, and I had witnessed from myself and from the clients that I had taken this through the massive difference that it could make in our lives. And so I decided to create a course, and I called it Shadow Dancing. Now, instead of teaching shadow dancing as a standalone course these days, I teach these shadow dancing tools, I call them, in my courses and my programs, in my business development courses and my programs. So why do I do that? Well, because my students are way more successful when they use these tools. They struggle less and they have faster success. They make more money and they have more fun along the way than before I included these tools. So I also do my own shadow work. So as I make this video, at the moment that I'm speaking to you right now, I'm on day 26 of a 40-day shadow work mandala, meaning that I have committed to do some type of shadow work every day for 40 days. And I'll tell you, I have already noticed some dramatic and unexpected shifts in the positive direction. And so while doing this and running my business, I also do a bit of reading and study of other forms of shadow work. I like to continue learning how others are using this, and I continue to add more tools to my shadow dancing repertoire, my shadow dancing treasure chest. So I'll just rattle off the names of some of the tools I've created. I have tools called Melting Mountains, The Catapult, How Do I Love Thee, Full Body Yes, The Growing Up Method, Refusal Tapping, and Shadow Dancing Meditation. Those are some that are purely my invention. And then some tools that I've learned from others that I use while crediting them are the Fear Dump, Sadistic SOPs, and the Option Method. So this is a topic that I'm definitely going to be speaking more on, but for now, this is a good enough overview, an introduction to shadow work. Change your business and your life. Book a chat with me. I love discussing shadow work and its transformational potential, and I'd love to learn more about you, what it is that you want, how it is that you're blocked, what obstacles are in the way, and just share with you my insight on how shadow work could change that for you. Thank you so much for listening.